Hey guys, so today we're going to take notes over some formula triangles. We are going to focus on one specific formula, but what you're going to need today is I'm going to use a blank sheet of paper, but you're going to do this on page 37 in your science journal. You need a calculator, something to write with, preferably a pencil because we are doing math today, and then your formula chart. So the formula that we're working with today is this formula right here. Force equals mass times acceleration. We're going to spend the whole day learning about this formula and manipulating it. We're actually going to turn this one formula into 3 different formulas. So, page 37 of your notebook, your title today is going to be Formula Triangles. So let's go ahead and write at the top of our paper that formula that can be found on our formula chart that we're working with today right here. Force equals mass times acceleration. Force equals mass times acceleration. Now, using the full words is a lot to write every time that you want to use this formula. So we shorten it and we just use the first letter of each word. So F equals MA. Now remember in math, if you have 2 numbers or 2 letters next to each other, that means that we're going to multiply these guys. So here's where the triangle portion comes in, and the triangle is awesome because it can be used for any formula that has 3 pieces. So your formula for work, speed, force, weight, or density could all be plugged into this formula triangle, and you can find any of these pieces of any formula that are given to you. So there's a very specific way you have to draw the triangle. So we'll go ahead and draw it. I would make it not super small. You want to be able to see it, have some room. There's your triangle, and we're going to divide it into 3 pieces. We're going to make a place for each one of the letters in our formula, just like this. So you're going to draw your triangle and then make a T. So we know that if 2 letters or 2 numbers in math are next to each other, they're going to have to be multiplied. The same thing happens in your formula in your triangle. So it's kind of nice. This formula chart tells you over here with the shortened version exactly how you're going to put this in the triangle. So right here for our formula, our A and our M are next to each other. That means they have to be next to each other in the triangle too. The only spot where they can be next to each other is down here at the bottom. So we're going to plug in our M and our A. F is what we have left over, so it's going to end up at the top. Here's how you read this triangle. Whatever 2 components you have next to each other, these are always going to be multiplied. If you have one on top of the other one, that would be written like, or like this. In math, this is divide. So that's the same thing that it means right here in our triangle. This is going to be division. And then same thing for the other side. So here's how that ends up working out. We already know that F equals M times A. Whatever it is you're looking for, so I'm looking for force. If I cover that up with my hand, I'm left with my formula, M times A. That's what we have. So here's how you can get 3 formulas just from one triangle. If I'm looking for M, I'm going to cover that up with my hand also. What am I left with? F divided by A. That's the formula to find mass. So mass equals force divided by acceleration. And I really like for you guys to write it this way because you are allowed to use your calculator. So if you write it out like this is the same order that you put it in your calculator. Because we know for division, if you accidentally put it in your calculator backwards, you're going to get the wrong answer. So then if our problem gives us, or we're looking for acceleration in our problem, we just cover it up, and we're left with force divided by mass. So A equals F divided by M. So here in a second, I'm going to go over a couple practice problems with you. But first, I also want us to make sure we have our units right. So for force, we measure force in newtons, which we shorten with an N. We measure mass. We use the metric system in science, so it's going to be kilograms, which is kg, or grams, which is just g. Then for acceleration, acceleration looks like a speed, but your unit is going to be squared if it's acceleration. So we're going to either use meters per second squared or kilometers per hour squared. It's squared because acceleration and speed are not the same thing. Speed is a constant. If you were going 10 meters per second, that would be a speed. You're constantly going the same speed. Acceleration is a change. So this is actually meters per second, so acceleration is always going to be squared. Let's do a couple practice problems. So let's say your force is unknown, but you know that your object has a mass of, let's say, 10 kilograms, and it's accelerating at 3 meters per second squared. So I'm going to need to draw my formula triangle. I know F goes here, M goes here, and A goes here. I can add my division and my multiplication if I want. So I'm looking for F. So I cover up F. I'm left with M times A. So what I need you to do is write out your formula. F equals M times A. Then you're going to take F, and you're going to plug in your numbers. Your mass is 10. Your acceleration is 3. So here's your formula. Now you can plug this into the calculator, and 10 times 3 is 30. And our unit for force is newtons. And then I need you to box your answer. These 4 pieces, this being 1, 2, 3, and 4, is what I'm expecting for you to do on each problem on your assignment today. So you have to have the list, the formula with numbers plugged in, and your answer with a unit in order to receive full credit. If you turn in a paper to me that just has your answer on it, the highest grade you can get is a 25 because you only did 1/4 of the work for each problem. So in order to receive a 100, I need a list of all the information you get in your problem. I need the formula that you're using. I need the numbers plugged into the formula. And then I need your answer. This triangle is already given to you on your assignment. So let's do one more. Let's say that I am giving a force of 100 newtons. My object has a mass of 25 kilograms, and I want to know how fast it's accelerating. So let's make sure our triangle is drawn. And again, on your assignment, I give it to you, but it doesn't hurt to redraw it and to get in the practice. So I'm looking for acceleration, so I'm going to cover up the A. I'm left with force over mass, or force divided by mass. So I'm going to write my formula. A equals F divided by M. A equals, I'm going to plug in my numbers. My force is 100 divided by my mass is 25. Plug this into your calculator, and your acceleration is 4 meters per second squared. And I'm going to box my answer. So again, I would receive full credit for this problem because I, number 1, listed everything I knew. Number 2, I wrote my formula. Number 3, I plugged in the information to my formula. And then number 4, I answered the problem.